The U.S. airline industry touches the lives of almost every American in some way or another. These airlines allow us to travel for business and for leisure, to meet new people and to reunite with loved ones. Air travel is also an important element of our national infrastructure, and it's critical to our economy. 1 in 8 American jobs depends in one way or another on travel and tourism, and analysts estimate that U.S. travel expenditures will total more than $850 billion in 2013. For all these reasons, Congress must take seriously any activity that will seriously and materially affect the airline industry. Our country has benefited greatly from airline deregulation ever since that began in 1978. Government control of this industry, like government management of any private enterprise, had unfortunate results. In the years since deregulation, airfares have dropped substantially, and options for travelers have simultaneously expanded. These benefits are the result of free market competition and will continue as long as the industry remains robustly competitive. Despite the positive benefits of deregulation, the story of our nation's airlines in recent decades is not one of unbroken, unmitigated success. Uneven earnings, volatile fuel costs, and structural changes have led to a long succession of airline bankruptcies. As federal agencies have provided assistance and assumed responsibility for many pension plans as a result of those airline bankruptcies, the financial stability of the airline industry is one of special concern. To help cope with changing circumstances, airlines have turned to consolidation. In the last decade alone, we've seen no fewer than 6 significant airline mergers in this country, and today we consider the 7th major merger, which would be an $11 billion transaction. The combined American and U.S. Airways would employ nearly 120,000 people, would have 2012 revenues of almost $40 billion, and fly 950 jets to approximately 900 locations. The merger would leave only 4 airlines with significant national networks, and those carriers would control over 80% of the domestic market. As a result, our subcommittee, which is tasked with the oversight and competition policy and consumer rights, must conduct a thorough examination of this transaction. The Department of Justice will, of course, review the proposed merger under the Hart-Scott-Rodino Act, applying an analytical framework set forth in the horizontal merger guidelines to assess the anti-competitive effects of reduced competition in relevant markets, identify any increased barriers for entry on future competitors, and consider efficiencies and benefits that may flow from this consolidation. As I've noted in previous hearings on this subcommittee, several principles guide my approach to antitrust law. Most importantly, we must remember the late Robert Bork's insight that the purpose of our antitrust laws is to maximize consumer welfare. We seek, therefore, to protect competition rather than to protect competitors. Government may sometimes have a proper role in ensuring that a company does not obtain undue market power, but it's important for federal agencies to it's improper, rather, for federal agencies to pick winners and losers in the marketplace. And absent evidence that a transaction will substantially reduce competition and thereby harm consumers, I believe government intervention is usually unwarranted. Mergers are an essential element of our rapidly changing economy, often creating significant efficiencies and helping to ensure that resources are put to their most productive possible use. I believe this merger holds the promise of cost savings through combining complementary assets, reducing duplicative operating expenses, and integrating computer systems as well as airline fleets. In a competitive market, consumers benefit from such efficiencies in the form of higher quality services like an expanded route network at low prices. Likewise, some industry experts suggest that the domestic market will benefit if comprised of a few large but economically stable and competitive airlines. Others, however, have expressed concern that a post-merger American, the largest domestic carrier, could exercise undue market power, leading to higher prices and even reduced services to certain communities in America. They argue that past airline mergers have created capacity reductions and price increases on some routes from the combined airlines hubs. Many of my constituents in Utah complain about high fares flying into and out of Salt Lake City. Critics fear that this merger will likewise allow American to raise prices on certain of its routes, and that despite barriers to entry will provide other and that increased barriers on entry will prevent other carriers from providing competitive discipline. As one example, they note that just a few miles down the road from here at Reagan National Airport, a combined American and U.S. Airways would control nearly 70% of all passenger gate slots, making effective competition from rivals very difficult to achieve. These are important issues, and I thank Senator Klobuchar, the chair of this subcommittee, for holding this hearing. By carefully weighing the evidence and engaging in rigorous analysis, we help ensure a competitive marketplace that maximizes consumer welfare and, in the end, allows our economy to thrive. I look forward to hearing the testimony from each of you today, and I thank you for being here.